Hi everyone, today we are speaking with Dr. Shailesh Upreti, who is the CEO at C4V. C4V is a New York based lithium-ion battery technology company that is gearing up to set a cell manufacturing facility in India under the PLI scheme. So, thank you, Dr. Upreti, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me here, Priyakshi.
Dr. Upreti, tell us about your battery technology and how is it different from the other prevailing battery chemistries today?
Yeah, thank you. So battery technology is a cobalt and nickel-free high voltage phosphate composite, which we have been developing for last 10 years and has gone through the full end-to-end cycle. We call it from molecules to machines, and it's already in the commercial market today. This technology actually offers about 3.9 volt cell level potential, which is the highest in the market. If you look at lithium iron phosphate, 3.2 volt, the other dominant chemistry is NMC, which is 3.7 volt. So not having cobalt, nickel, and offering higher voltage basically allow us to maximize the energy in a definite volume and weight and provide it at a very cost-effective manner. So that's the high level, and we don't change anything on the manufacturing footprint. We are not disrupting anything on the manufacturing processes or form factor. So that allow us to seamlessly integrate and scale this technology. So what that means is, we can pretty much pick any existing plant and start producing our form factor. One of our customer is into a US military. They are producing electric autonomous boats. We have supplied many packs to them for last few years. And we had to go through a few years of qualification. So I would say, it's very mature stage and it's already in the commercial market and have been validated by various customers in many different industries.
Right. So in terms of end application, what are the current applications it's being used in, apart from the defense customer you talked about?
So except, portable electronics like, cell phone, laptop, etc., we have been working with end customers, 50 plus in different verticals. So both, EV and grid definitely are there, but we also handle some industrial and other heavy duty, vehicle market as well.
Right. And where are these cells and batteries manufactured at the moment?
So we do it in multiple ways. We have a pilot facility that has been operational for last 3+ years right here in New York. So we do that. And then we also have done some contract manufacturing, utilizing some of the existing facilities to produce our cells. So combining both the methods, we have, delivered end product to customers.
Right, right. And what are your plans for the Indian market? Are you looking for contract manufacturing, licensing technology, or are you going to manufacture the cells by yourselves?
So our business model is a bit unique. It's very high, I would say highly scalable model. So we call it a franchise model where we participate, we become partner, in a joint venture. We don't want to go in a country and become operator because every country has its own challenges, right? So our goal is to have a JV partner, so is in India, and we'll remain one of the significant owner in the factory and a long-term partner, primarily a technology engine, supply not only our current generation but also, continue to supply the future products that we'll be developing along the way.
Okay, and in terms of location, are there any definite plans? Where are you looking to set up cell manufacturing?
Yeah, so our team has reviewed various locations. I would say, with the Invest India team, which has been very supportive to us, our ground team has evaluated about 11 states. We down selected to 3. We haven't made any final decision. We have not disclosed where it will be. Also, part of this will be, I would say our operating partner or JV partner will also play a key role in certain ways kind of decide. And that's something we are still, in talks with them. So we haven't even finalized the JV partner. We have right now 3 to 4 options. So once that is finalized, we will be announcing that to the market. Yeah.
Right. So are you still looking out for partners to make
yeah, I wouldn't say we are still looking out, but we have right now, I mean, it's a long process in order for us to meet the PLI timeline. I think we are probably in good shape to finalize, among whatever we have right now.
Okay.
But if someone, interested, because we haven't made decision, and next 3 months, we anticipate that process will be going on. So if someone would be interested and willing to move fast, I think we are open to discuss that.
Right. And what kind of partner are you looking for? What capabilities should they bring to the table?
So someone with the domestic manufacturing and business background who have done manufacturing, operated some form of plant in India would be ideal partner. If they are into renewable upstream, downstream, or become captive user, that will be really icing on the cake. But anyone with the operational background, understand the Indian, all the nitty-gritties and manufacturing challenges will be really good.
Okay. So in terms of your plans, what is the envisaged scale of production of investment under the PLI?
So, I mean, it would obviously be minimum 5 gigawatt hour. As I said, part of this decision is also done by the partner, but minimum 5 gigawatt. And we anticipate that with the Indian market, growing very high speed, it could be a few factories of that size, probably 3 to 4 factories of 5 gigawatt hour eventually.
All right. And this, the cells that you are making here, that you will be making here, so do you have in mind for domestic consumption, or are you looking at it as an export base as well?
So currently, I think India domestically obviously has its certain markets already, very advanced. So we are looking at signing up contracts with customers. So a majority of those customers today, the discussions are happening are based in India. Their end product might be exported, but the actual user is based out of India. So our focus is primarily that at this point. The OEMs that integrate the pack in their system are in India right now, the one we are talking to.
Right. And with this technology, what is the target per kilowatt hour price you're looking at the cell level?
So of course we are already in that range that industry is expecting, between $100 to $200 per kilowatt hour. Okay. So we can't really openly disclose our pricing because it's end product specific, and cell designs are also changing from different verticals, and pricing is also proportional to the volumes. Right. So but definitely the target number that industry has been eyeing for is our goal. In principle, we can achieve double-digit, cost numbers for the right volume. So that definitely is in the plan.
Right, because that will be very important if you are looking for the end consumption in India. Because right now the cells are being imported from China, and we hear that anywhere around 100 kilowatt per hour also at cell level people are importing. So of course there could be quality issues with that and things like that. But of course, the premium, even if somebody is paying a premium for domestic production or better quality, we have to quantify it, and it has to be brought in some measurable range, with respect as opposed to the current prices, right?
Correct. I think domestic manufacturing will definitely lead to lower cost. Eventually, at the scale 50 gigawatt, the PLI itself is targeting is a reasonable size to bring that cost down. The incentives offered by state and the central government going to play a key role initially as the industry is nascent, and there'll be a lot of learning curve, and industry obviously going through this chicken and egg problem, demand versus supply. So all those will play a critical role. But in long run, I think chemistry like ours, where we wouldn't have to rely on cobalt, nickel, and import of toxic and expensive components, I think we'll have a better control. We are eyeing for 60% value add from day one. Our supply chain partners are planning to set up. We're already qualifying a few in India, the component suppliers. So that 60% domestic value add would give us a good grip over the price control and the supply control. Both of them are important right now China could be selling even $80, $70 per kilowatt hour, but very limited visibility what grade those cells are. There are various grading that happen on the manufacturing floor. Second, the long-term reliability on those cells. They might be functional 6 month, 12 month, and as they go through summer, winter cycles a few times in 5 to 10 year time frame, how they perform is also very important. So quality and reliability, cost, and the cost aspect, we also look into the total cost of ownership, right? You might buy a cell that is $70, but only provide you, let's say, 1,000 cycles,
right.
Which will be, let's say, 3 to 5 year lifetime versus, $100 that provide you 15-year time life cycle. And that 15-year in EV and stationary both are important in Indian context. That's typically the lifetime of the system, whether it's solar or electric vehicle. So that I think is very, very important context, not just upfront cost, but overall either levelized cost of energy or total cost of ownership.
Right. Right. So when you say 60% value addition from day one, and that is a prerequisite under the PLI incentives as well. So what do you mean by that?
So that means the component that will be going into our cells, those component as itself would be manufactured in India as well. So that's the context there. So our model actually allowed to create, we call it industrial cluster, not just one factory of cell manufacturing, but our supply chain partners will be setting up, their manufacturing sites in India, but also various existing Indian component builder, are also willing to qualify their component with us. So we are kind of agnostic to that. So that approach has been a part of the strategy for last many years that we have been eyeing the Indian market.
Okay. So also, can you give any insight into how are you going about building the supply chain for this prospective cell manufacturing facility? What kind of partners are you looking at, and what kind of tie-ups do you already have in place?
Yeah, absolutely. So today we have 60 plus companies that we have qualified in a part of our supply chain. And we probably are the among like very few companies who have ex-China supply chain built. It takes, it has taken us 6 years to just stabilize the supply chain. It takes 18 months or 2 years, about that time frame to qualify a single component. So each supplier, if you start working, it will be 2-year process to qualify. So it's a very extensive process. You can't just, test one component for one application and approve. So in that context, we have been working with various Indian component suppliers already. And also, the existing component supplier have expressed willingness, but also some of them have actually signed agreements to kind of establish their component manufacturing to or in close proximity to be setting up in India. So that's the context. Yeah.
You're talking about the supply chain, and you said that the supply chain is not dependent on China. So are we saying that all the raw material needed to make the electrodes, the electrolytes, and other things that go into the cell can be easily procured from within India or from other countries, and we do not have to go to China for any of these?
Correct. That's the correct statement. It's very, very, very rare to find components that you are not relying on China, but we have done good job there last 5-6 years spent, identifying those suppliers. And I would say, we have built a very strong supply chain that will not only be price competitive to China, but also provide high quality components. So that way your performance and cost are not compromised.
Right. Will you be able to share what other countries apart from India is your raw material going to come from?
I mean, right now, of course, there's a lot of need for different metals, right? So initially we might be importing some of them, but eventually we are aiming to qualify domestic, supply chain partners. So today I would say Australia, Chile, Argentina, some African countries, Canada, US would be the key countries where we'll be importing from.
Right. And are these the same companies who are supplying to your US plant?
Correct, correct. Today, all our major component, 4 component, cathode, anode, separate electrolyte are domestic. And we are hoping that similar, trend will follow for the Indian context. So we're working with the electrolyte manufacturer, Anode. Our cathode partner from US has also expressed interest to build the cathode plant in India. So it will be, very comprehensive. But at the same time, I think we'll be able to control the quality of the product.
All right. Can you talk about the anode? Is it graphite, silicon?
Yeah, so we have 3 different designs: Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and we use all 3. We use graphite, we also use silicon blended graphite, and we use lithium metal for our solid state designs. So 3 designs are there, and all 3 have different anodes.
Right, but initially to start with, when you're talking about this cell manufacturing facility, which one are you going to start with?
So phase 1 will have graphite, which is blended with a little bit of silicon, but very minor.
Right. And can you tell us about what are your plans of moving from Gen 1 to Gen 2? Because that will require not just preparation from your end, but from other industry partners as well, right? The OEMs, first of all, should be able to place those batteries in their vehicles. And of course, the supply chain might also see some modifications. So do you have a plan on horizon, how and when you are going to move from Gen 1 to Gen 2 and so on?
Yeah, and that's where I think our R&D capabilities going to serve, a very important role. It's always, as I said, chicken and egg problem. What comes first, whether a qualified OEM or a qualified supply chain and the technology maturity, right? So what we do is, as we speak, we have been qualifying our Gen 2, Gen 3 designs with various end customers. So let them, use the product, taste it, qualify it. While it takes few years with, let's say in at least in auto industry, it could be 6 to 12 months in stationary market. While that is happening through a pilot line, we kind of add, a sales pipeline to the requirement, and accordingly, then, the production capacities are built. So we're not aiming to really build a facility and wait for a customer to come in. So it's like a, 3-prong approach happening in parallel. And that's going to be the same for India. So Gen 2, our designs are fully ready. We are already testing those with end customers. So if for some reason, let's say Indian customer don't like it, or, it doesn't work, then we will not launch it. But if it is qualified, then we'll definitely launch it. Our Gen 1 is very, very optimal for Indian context, primarily, because a lot of components can be domestically sourced. So the cost is going to be very, very competitive. So we believe our Gen 1 will be kind of a winner in the market. So, and our solid state would also give very, very strong, energy density and safety benefits. And that we believe could be 2 key designs that will probably dominate Indian market versus Gen 2, which may not, because it is going to be a high performance, but also high cost chemistry. So may not be much appreciated, but let's see.
Okay. So I understand, because the PLI scheme, the specific are yet to come out from the government side as well. And so once that comes out, of course, the companies will start qualifying under PLI and will start putting up the plant and all. So what is the kind of time frame we can expect once the qualification is done under PLI to start the initial 1 gigawatt hour line? How long is that setup process?
Yeah, I mean, PLI and government incentive is good, but our plan is not dependent on that, although we are trying to align them together. But if it becomes a longer process, we'll go ahead with our own plans. Also, our overall pricing and supply chain and the technology itself is kind of quite sustainable. So it wouldn't be at the mercy of incentives, but obviously, incentive going to add a lot of benefits to end customers to us, in terms of pricing initially, because the learning curve. So that said, we're hoping that, a JV partner be finalized, let's say next 6-month time frame. And post that, it is somewhere between 18 to 24-month process, right. To build the facility, which requires land selection approvals and equipment orders that has to be made and assembling those together. So all that can be done in 18, 24-month time frame.
Right. And we also read about some MOUs being signed with the Indian electric vehicle makers. So as we understand, the time frame for actually producing the cells in India is still, 2 to 3 years away. So are you planning to do some import from your US plants to start testing those vehicles with those batteries? I'm talking about basically the launch of your cells and batteries in the Indian ecosystem.
Yeah, and we have been doing that, by the way. We have been providing cells to Indian OEMs for the last few years already for testing purpose. So we'll continue to do that from the pilot facility we have, and qualify different designs and cells and sign contracts for the Indian factory. Yes.
All right. So thank you, Dr. Shailesh. I think it has been very informative. Thank you for sharing about your plans and your technology. We really look forward to see the first lithium-ion cell manufacturing plant in India. So we have seen that ever since the PLI has come, there are players who are expressing interest. So really good to know about one of the leading contenders of who's actually going to do that in India, and we're really will be really excited to cover as and when the developments happen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited, and we want to be at the front as a front runner in the race for building the first facility there. And thanks for hosting. Appreciate your time as well.